TJ?
TJ, a guy with obviously plays D tackle, probably a 3-tech first, inside rush. For us, kind of, he can play one. I would say his primary is 3, so he'd go 3 to 1. But we like the idea of adding another inside rusher, another guy to pair with Ed on clear passing downs. But we could still play him at 1 if we wanted to. I would just say position 1 would be a 3-tech.
What was the impetus for deciding you needed to trade up for him?
Yeah, you just inside any rush, Jay, but an inside rush, just looking at our board, the value we had on him, it's just we had a really good grade on him and just felt like it's only so he wasn't going to get to us, so we were just checking around and trying to find a spot. And we liked that one in the sense that we could not go too far and not be able to get this third that we just used on Landon.
Perception was a 1-tech to sort of pair with Daquan and maybe shore up the run defense. Maybe was arguably the bigger need. From what you're describing, it doesn't sound necessarily like TJ is that exactly for you guys. So how do you square those two things, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, again, best football player. And that's just it's harder to find inside rush than a 2-down nose. Those are easier to find. Those guys you can go in free agency now and find those guys with inside rush. You just if you go down the pecking order of what D tackles make, those guys up top, they know how to rush.
You almost picked the spot perfectly before the run started on defensive lineman in the second round. Was that where you guys had it going into the day where the run was going to start?
Try to do research, check around, we kind of had a feeling some of those names that would go early that did and that were not, D linemen, but you knew at some point it's going to trigger back to it. And, again, a guy with inside rush we just didn't feel would last very long. We didn't know that it would last that long. You don't know. We did not want to, to go all the way up to the round. We would have had to lose both twos with nothing left. We still had a lot of good value on the board and still do, but this made a lot of sense to go get a guy we had a really good grade on and be able to get this third round that we just got Landon with.
Thoughts on Landon Jackson, getting him where you got him?
Yeah, very excited. High character DNA, a longer athletic dude, a lot of sacks, went against a lot of premium talent, in the SEC and had a lot of production. Obviously athletically tested very well. I would say even tested better than I would have maybe even said. But this guy is smart. He knows how to rush. He has feel in there. He's not just an athletic guy. Like, he knows when the quarterback's stepping up. He just got feel, instincts, awareness. He's tough. He's a dog. He's everything we want in a DNA of a D lineman.
With your offense mostly set when you're comparing both sides, how important and how valuable and how much of a need was it to cycle youth into the defense for not just for the long term, but also the short term as well?
Yeah, John, we did feel we needed to get younger in some areas on defense, and so we hoped to do that. Couldn't tell you it would be with the first 3 picks. I felt like the way we were set up with the 1 and the 2 twos, I felt going in 2 of those, just the way our board was set, we'd be able to get defense. And, after we made the trade up, I was like, okay, we got 2 defense. We're still just going to stick with the board. And Landon was truly the highest player on our board.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. I know it's not intentional necessarily, but 3 defenders all from the SEC.
Yeah.
Can you kind of just speak to getting guys who played at that level of competition all with their first 3 picks?
Yeah, I mean, how can you not respect the SEC and their track record? A lot of talent, every year, every draft, a lot of premium players. It's not that that's the only league, but it's pretty loaded division. And again, when you're talking about TJ, I've seen TJ live 3 or 4 times the last 2 years. He stands out on tape. His athleticism, his size, his the way he uses his length. He's kind of he's got the moves of a basketball player inside. Like, he's just got feel, and he grew up playing basketball. But he picked up football later. He's just a naturally gifted athlete with power, still growing, still ascending. I think there's a lot in there that we think we can get him with pro coaching, and I think he's got a nice high ceiling. We got to get him in here and get him into our program, but excited to be able to land him in the second round.
At length with these two defensive linemen. You spoke about getting length. Sean did too at the end of the season press conference. How important was it to get some length?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't. That's nothing you can teach your coach. You got it or you don't. It's not an end-all, be-all, but it's a great starting point, especially with guys that already. These are two very football-smart players. Both of these guys we added today. Instinctual, feel, understanding, knowing what the offensive player is trying to do. That's half the battle sometimes, is knowing what to expect so that you have your counters ready to roll.
And with your 2 picks today, and then Ogunjobi, Hoyt, and Bosa, I mean, this is a very sizable kind of overhaul of the defensive line. Why did you think that was something you guys needed to do?
Well, I think if you probably go back, Matt, and listen to about any press conference that Sean and I have ever had of talking about the importance of how to build a team, you got to have a quarterback, and then after that it starts up front. And we're always trying to look for ways to do that on both sides of the ball. And so I think if you look back, we've spent a decent amount of capital, whether it's in free agency or the draft, on both sides of the ball. And I haven't found anything that's changed my mind from that. We got to protect Josh Allen, and we've got to stop the run and get after the opposing quarterback.
Agree that Landon Jackson, he played wide, but he did spend a fair amount of snaps at 4-eye inside, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were just sending him out
No.
wide.
Yeah,
right.
I think he's got a versatile skill set. I really do. I don't know that we would necessarily rush him inside, but I wouldn't. Yeah,
And like that's good in
Yeah.
the sense that he didn't get all his snaps where you'll play him most of the time.
Yeah,
right.
he's going to play more as definitely a base end for us, and I agree with you. You just see him. Sometimes this is a projection business. We talk about that all the time. Sometimes you're projecting level of comp, how someone played him. Pro scouting is easier because you see him play against other pro players. This guy was playing against guys that are already in the NFL or just drafted, this weekend. And so it's an easier projection to me to see Landon Jackson going to the NFL than maybe some other players or positions.
Ogunjobi can play both, but his best spot is 3-tech. You don't have, at the moment, a backup to Daquan whose best position is 1-tech.
Yeah, I do think Dwayne Carter can do it. I wouldn't rule that out for him. And I think that was asked the other day, like, where would he go in the rotation? And part of that is, well, what do we add this weekend? If we added a 2-down nose, we're probably going to play him more at the 3. So at this point, the way it's slated, we'd probably position him over to 1, and that's what we like: versatility, guys that can do both. Just like we talk about on the offensive line, not a one-hole player. Dwayne's one of those guys. Wherever we put him, he's going to make the most of it.
And TJ, you guys brought in Ryan Nielsen this offseason. How much of a fingerprint did he have on scouting these two guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ryan, Marcus West, Jason Rebovich, Coach Rebs, all those guys, they've done a great job. A lot of these guys went on the road and worked some of these guys out, spent time with them, obviously doing Zooms. But I would give all 3 of those guys credit. Bobby Babich spent a lot of time. We went through guys all the way back to free agency. We watched a ton of guys together, talked about what they bring, whether it was athletic ability, speed, power, all the things that you're looking for. And so to get the guys we've been able to add today, there's a lot of excitement upstairs.
Back to how your seasons have ended, and there are a lot of contributing factors to not just blame the defense overall, but as you look ahead and as you project ahead with this new look defense that you have young guys locked in, how are you eager to see how this defense evolves in being able to be different from past defenses and how your seasons have come to an end?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've played a lot of good football around here, John. I think people always remember a game here, a game there that didn't go well, but we've played a lot of good football, a lot of good defense. We've just been in, sometimes you have transition, age at certain positions, things like that, positions that didn't work out. But, yeah, I'm excited to add the 3 players we've added so far. We've still got more picks. We'll see where they go, some offense, some defense. But, yeah, I think it's exciting where we're at of what we've added. And, again, hopefully when I'm up here tomorrow, I feel like we've added something else, either on offense or defense.
And then I know we talked about Maxwell Harrison last night from a football perspective. There is a first-person account going around from 2022 alleging rape in 2021. Is that something that was on the Bills' radar during this process? And if so, what made you comfortable drafting him?
Yeah, I mean, he's an impeccable kid, and we've did a lot of research. Yeah, I think all teams were aware of the Title IX thing. That was fully investigated by the school. There's everything out. He even volunteered to do a polygraph and had notes. It was one of those where there was zero information saying that this actually happened to what the accusation was. And just like anything in this world, Catherine, like you can't just take someone's accountants and think that's the truth. But yes, we fully investigated that. If there was anything to that, he wouldn't have been invited to the combine, he was at the draft last night. No, he's every person you talk to at Kentucky, teammates, staff there, plus what we've done, I would say this is a heck of a young man. Every person you ask. So, that's unfortunate when things like that are attached to someone's name, and in this case, it doesn't seem to be anything there.
Can we surmise that you're done since you're out here?
It's a good. How would you say submission? Is that what do you say? You guys are writers.
Surmisal.
Yeah, surmisal.
I just made up a word.
Get back to me tomorrow on that. Yes, we're
Just
done.
don't get back to us with more picks tonight.
Well, I got that 7th. So.
Yeah, thanks. The one tech, you said, looking at it, potentially in free agency after the draft. Would that be a position you'd still consider tomorrow if the right guy was there, a backup 2 down, 1 technique?
If he's a good player, yes. We're sticking to the board. We feel good with where we're at. We feel like we've hit some positions that we had value, meet needs. At this point, we're truly just best players on the board. So if it's a 2 down nose, we'll take it. If it's another rusher, I wouldn't turn it down.